And all right. So Mara, good morning. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce your last name. I'm sure you get Mara D all the time, don't you?
Yep, it's okay. Mara's just fine. How are you, everybody?
All right, good. Thank you for joining us. So first of all, Renee, thank you again for putting this together. Mara, my name is Corey Williams, president of FFL Genesis. You got myself and about 11 or 12, I guess if we count the dog, we got about 14, 15 people on. And Amy will have dog jumping on her here in a few minutes. But so we're with FFL. We have some restrictions on what we can do in reference to what we can say in ads. And I know you guys have probably more of that than we do. And you probably work with some other FFL organizations. But what this particular group is that you're speaking to today, this group is one that's wanting to build organizations. They're actively recruiting, they're actively selling. But basically, these guys on here that you see are the heart of our organization. So we're constantly looking at different ways, with your competitors, ZipRecruiter, Indeed, Monster, all those. And we know you guys are one of the largest, most popular search engines in the world. So we'll open the floor up to you, obviously, if it's okay for us to ask questions as we're going through, and then what kind of things that we can do to potentially partner with Indeed. So Mara, floor is yours.
Yep, of course. And at any time anyone has any questions, please feel free to stop, interrupt. There's a lot of information, and even after the call today, you'll probably still have more questions. If Renee wants to pass my email along, please feel free to reach out to me directly as well.
I'll put Mara's email in Slack, you guys.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So first and foremost, the first way that you can recruit on Indeed is by posting a job. So you post the job on Indeed, and then you have people apply to the position. So you can post for free depending on how your account is set up, but to make the most out of your ad, we strongly recommend sponsoring it. There's so many jobs that are being added at a time, and because the market is so competitive, as time goes on, your free ad will fall back in the search results page. So that's why it's super important to sponsor your ad, put a budget towards it. There's two different forms of sponsorship. And again, this depends on how the account is set up, but one of them is cost per application. So that's our newest budget model where you're paying for each application received. However, you get 48 hours upon receiving the application to decide whether or not you want to pay for them. So say you received an application today, 2 days from now would be Friday, so you would have until Friday to hit that rejection button, but you can see the candidate's full resume and make the decision based off that, whether or not you want to pay for them. So depending on the roles that you're hiring for, if you feel that, like for example, if it requires a lot of certifications, licensures, this would be super beneficial to you because you are only paying for candidates that are qualified at this point. In some cases, this doesn't work for employers because they need more volume of applicants, and that's where our other sponsorship option, the cost per click, comes into play. So with the cost per click, you set a daily or monthly budget, and at that point, we're pushing your ad as high up as possible onto the page to get you as many clicks onto your ad, but we keep that in mind of staying within your monthly or daily budget that you set. So those are the two different options for sponsoring your ad that you post directly with us. Within those two options, we also offer an invite to apply feature. So we try and curate a list based on the job description that you have set up and qualities that you're looking for. And basically, you can then invite applicants to apply to your ad. And that's free. That's included when you sponsor the ad. So if the ad is set up with the cost per application, you invite them to apply, they do in fact apply, you still have that 48 hours to make the decision on them. And then if you invite a candidate to apply while you have the cost per click, you're then paying for the click onto your ad if they're interested. So that is kind of just the generic posting an ad to Indeed. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Yeah, can we start at the top? So sponsored ad. I've run literally hundreds of ads on Indeed. So I'll give just my 2 cents on the first one, and then we can move forward from there. The free ad guys, I've probably run 30, 40 of those. They never work because you just get pushed down by people that are paying for sponsored ads. So it ain't worth the time to post it. My personal opinion. Mara's shaking her head at me because there's certain things she can't say, right? The second thing is, Mara, your cost per ad. So somebody submits their resume, right? Somebody submits their resume. I know it used to be 1,000 years ago, it was like $1 every time that came through. I don't know what the cost of it is now. Can you give us the cost perspective on that? And it's probably different in St. Louis than it is in Chicago if it is in LA, right?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. Just going to explain that. So depending on the job title and the location, so we factor all of that in and the current competition in the area. We give you a set price. So my best example is always a tax accountant or accountant during tax season. At the beginning of the season, they're super high in demand. You may see application costs of $60 to $70. In the off season, they may be $20 to $30. Again, these are just estimates. At the time that you post the ad, you will see the actual cost per application. And depending on how fast you need to hire and how you set up the settings, sometimes there's an option for like an accelerated cost per application price where it is a little bit more than the standard, but we're guaranteeing you more visibility so that more apps come in a shorter amount of time. So again, it depends on the job title and location whenever you're posting.
And insurance is always one of those popular titles for sure.
Yeah.
And you had told me yesterday that the average that you sometimes see, maybe for the insurance space, could an average might be $15 to $30 per app, just off the top of your head, but that could vary again depending on location and market.
Yep, exactly. Personally, I see one time I saw a hairdresser cost per application of $75 because it was just so high in demand in that area. So it really depends. But we also are setting you up for success. So we wouldn't give you like a $10 cost per application and then have no applications come through, because we realistically want to send qualified applicants your way so that you can review them. You still have the option to reject them. So again, just keep that in mind. It's clearly displayed to you before you agree to go forward with the ad. So if the cost per app is too high, or maybe you want to do something different, you can always call us and we can figure out another option.
So I have a question. So you say the person gets to review the application. So I apply at Renee's organization and I apply at her organization and she looks at my resume. How much of that resume do you see? Because what would stop us from, I mean, most people are honest, but what would stop somebody from screenshotting that resume, rejecting it back to you? And I get all the minutia, like if you reject too many, you guys are going to start digging. But what would stop Renee? Let's reverse this. I don't want to say Renee does anything bad. I'm hiring. Renee sends her resume to me. I look at her resume and go, Renee might be a great fit here. I screenshot her resume and then decline it back to you. What's to stop you guys from doing that?
So we are working on kind of that 48-hour time period and the details. However, most of our applicants will submit an Indeed resume. The Indeed resume does not show the contact information.
Yeah,
so you'll need to contact directly through Indeed. Once the conversation goes forward, the candidate can share their info. But there are some loopholes, I'm going to be honest. Some people will post a PDF of their resume and submit that to you, and their personal information will be on there. So there are a couple loopholes through the system, but ideally you would want to contact the candidate directly through Indeed, especially with potential fraud and things like that. We strongly encourage all of our job seekers to utilize Indeed first to make sure it's a legitimate job. And then as the interview or the hiring process progresses, obviously personal contact information.
So in short, we don't receive the contact information until we accept the application.
No, that may not be the case. So it really depends on how the job seeker has their privacy settings set up. Some may share their phone number with you right away, and you can contact them directly right off the bat. Others, you'll need to contact them solely through Indeed, and it is all up to the job seeker.
Okay. And then, sorry, go ahead.
Mara, I had a quick question.
Sure.
My name is Gregory. I'm here
Hi.
in Atlanta. Does the cost per click for the resume or the applicant, does it have anything to do with their actual experience? Like you're talking about the hairdresser, or a more experienced hairdresser would be a higher cost than one that has less experience?
No, so the cost per click is based upon the traffic for that day. So we work on a bid for click model. So whenever your ads up are on the search results page, we're trying to get people to click on your ad. And so we only ever put the charges for that specific ad when someone clicks on your ad. So potentially you could have an inexperienced candidate click on your ad and you would have to pay for that. So it's super important to pick a appropriate title, for example, licensed insurance agent versus like not putting that at all, because some people are willing to train and pay for the licensure for their agents. So including things like that will discourage people from clicking on it beforehand. But with the cost per click ad, like that budget setup, you will get more clicks on your ad and potentially get more people to apply. They just may not all be as qualified as you would like them to be. So that's the kind of difference between the cost per application and the cost per click. So there are pros and cons on both sides.
So Pitts, we used to use cost per click at the practice company. And there was just times, you got to imagine, at some point I was in Chicago and St. Louis. Well, the cost per click was much higher in Chicago than it was St. Louis, as it was in maybe Oklahoma City, right? So, but sometimes the cost per click, it would depend. We would do like, I think our rep at Indeed was telling us to do it's like 75 cents per click, because that was higher in some area. It would put you near the top. But you come back in there the following week or over the weekend, and it would be like you'd have to bump it to like $1.10, because it's the weekend, more people are looking, especially Sunday when most heart attacks happen because people are going to work next Monday, people are looking. So those cost per click would be higher there. But we had a lot of success with the cost per click for sure. And it tells you like roughly, I'm doing your job.
Oh, totally fine.
But it literally will tell you the cost per click, like on average, like how many, and I don't know if you guys have changed this, Mara, the estimate that you can get from this to this with that cost per click.
We do show an estimate, but we have sort of decreased the amount of wiggle room an employer will have in choosing their cost per click, because we have an automated system that works for you. So you don't have to think about that. Again, the system is set up so we try and get you the best kind of bang for your buck. So we figure out the best cost per click based on the actual traffic to your ad on that day. So it is being automized now. It's not something that you have to go back in and change on the weekends or peak like job searching time on the internet. So that is something that has changed, but we do still show you an estimate based on the projected budget that you set.
Okay, and then as far as the budget, just because everybody else hasn't heard it yet, you told me yesterday the cost per click can be anywhere from $5 an hour on up to, not an hour, excuse me, a day on up to what per day?
It's really as much as you would like it to be. I don't think I've
Okay.
ever seen more than like $100 per day, I'll be honest.
Or
But the
you can do per month at
Mhm.
minimum 150 per month.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So each ad will need to have either $5 per day budget or $150 per month budget. With the $5 per day budget, I will explain that that is a daily average. So for example, we find that more people will be searching on our site Monday through Wednesday. So you may see more spending than $5 per day on those first 3 days of the week. But towards the end, come Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when there may not be as much traffic, you'll see spend of less than $5. And over the course of the ad, we try our best to average that out to $5. But if all these people are clicking on your ad and viewing it, and just so much traffic is coming through, we're not going to stop that, because you're actually getting that traffic to your ad, and we'll try our best to kind of keep it within your budget, but that's an opportunity for you. So we'll let those clicks come through, kind of thing.
And these are, no, go ahead, Marlon, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, with the monthly budget, it's more strict. So it'll take, because it has that set time frame, it'll try and average out per day to spread it across. But once the budget is met, it'll stop spending. So it's strictly, you set 150, we won't spend more than 150. Whereas if you set the $5 per day, you may see like 160, 165, depending on traffic, because it is a daily average.
So this sounds like now it's more algorithm based than it was back in the past, because we used to have to go in every day and make some minor adjustments and that kind of stuff. So
Not necessary anymore. We've automated a lot of the process
that's
for you.
that's all. That'd be like one of the first things I do when I get up in the morning was go and look at my Indeed and make my adjustments.
No.
It's crazy.
Okay. And
So,
then the third option that you told me about.
Okay, so the third option is our Indeed resume subscription. So instead of posting an ad and waiting for people to contact you directly, you're paying for a subscription for a certain amount of contacts. Each contact is you actually messaging a person. So the database that you have access to is all of the job seekers that have shared their resume with us, and you can search based on education, job title, industry, all things like that. And so you see their full resume, their name, and again, their contact information is emitted. You send the message request through our platform. They then let you know, yes, they're interested, and then their personal contact informations, and you can continue the conversation. If they say no, they're not interested, then the contact is used and the conversation ends there. So it's super important to personalize these messages so it doesn't sound super generic, like you're like multi-messaging people at a time, but you have a little bit more wiggle room with this way of hiring, because you can take those 30 contacts and contact 30 people about 30 different jobs. It's not just one job that you're hiring for, because each message is specific to that person you're contacting. So you could talk about health insurance agent for this one, life insurance for another one. Again, not super familiar with the insurance industry, but just as an example, you can contact for any position at this point, not just the one as if you were doing with the posted ad.
so Mara, if this is the way that it used to be, and I'm sorry, I'm resorting
No,
back.
that's fine.
If this is the way it used to be, you get some, I think I just heard you mention 30, you get 30 resumes a month. If that person that you apply or that you reach out to, again, all that is platform based. It all has to be done through Indeed. If that person says, no, thank you, you then get credit back for that. No, not the way it used to.
So
Okay.
we have changed it. So no
Okay.
matter what, whenever you're contacting a candidate, you're utilizing a credit. There's no like contact back, no
Got it.
contacts received back anymore. We've removed that as we're progressing with this product, which is why it's super important to contact candidates with a real job option. You'd be surprised at what some people are trying to like message about within the resume platform. But also, we also don't want to make this a place where job seekers are constantly being
Bombarded.
spammed,
Yeah.
with opportunities. So they have the choice to say, no, I'm not interested. And that's what keeps them from sharing. That's what entices them to share their resumes with us. And that's why our resume database is so big, because we take their privacy and, all of that into consideration. So
I'm
I will
probably
say
that, because I used to literally go on every day, because you guys used to credit them back. I'd go into and I already had like things pulled up for different areas of Chicago, and I would just go in there and go 30 and send them out. And if they didn't come back, then I would, yeah.
So with the resume subscription, because you have so many people recruiting, each person would need to have their own subscription. So for example, our standard subscription plan is 30 contacts a month, so you can message up to 30 people. You can do as many searches as possible and look at as many resumes as possible, but the actual contacting is where you're limited in. That is $120 per month. The professional subscription, which is 100 contacts per month, is $300 per month. And again, each person needs their own subscription. There is also a benefit to purchasing it annually. So for the whole 12 months, if you pay up front, I believe it's a 20% discount. And then again, you can also view this all within the Indeed account. I can also pass along some resources after the meeting here today, just so you can see like the price structure and things like that. So also, whoever has the subscription, their email address it's assigned to, and that person is the one contacting the candidates through Indeed. No other person can jump in at any time and start contacting them. And so say, for example, Corey, you have the subscription assigned to you, and then you decide you've contacted people, you decide mid-month, you're going to kind of be hands off with the recruiting from now on, and you're going to pass it over to Renee. So if you transfer the subscription to Renee, which you can do, all the conversations that you started, Corey, you will no longer be able to finish because you don't have an active subscription. And because Renee was not the person that initially contacted them, she won't contact them either because of the privacy protocols that we have set in place. So that's just something to keep in mind.
Now, you did tell me, explain about the excess credits.
So as you're given the credits each month, they expire 6 months from the date they're given. So you don't have to use all 30 within that month, or all 100 within that month. They'll roll over month to month, and they have that 6-month expiration date. But also, if you have multiple subscriptions within the account, say Corey has the professional subscription, he doesn't use all 100, but Renee has the standard and she uses all of her 30. Corey can then transfer contacts to Renee. So you won't lose contacts, and you can still make the most of that between your subscriptions.
Got it. This is great. Any other questions? So if you've got the cost per, and you're going to send this in, if you would email this to Renee and I, we'll get it out to the group. So you got the cost per app, which could be anywhere. I know I'm just throwing numbers out here, but could be anywhere from $10, $15 up to 30, based on industry, based on time, based on what's going on. Mm-hmm. Then you have the cost per click, $5 a day, although you could say you wanted to spend $1,000 a day if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. Depends on the area, depends on how competitive the heading is, all that kind of stuff. Then you have your invite to apply, which I don't think we covered that yet. And then you have your resume subscriptions where you can go in 30 a month for $120, and then you have your $300 program. Of course, you guys have discounts if you pay in full, etc. So one of the last questions I have is your invite to apply. I know you mentioned that, but I don't think we covered it unless I missed it.
Yeah, so invite to apply isn't a specific product. It is a feature that you can utilize within the hosted jobs if you are doing cost per click or cost per application. So it's that added bonus feature. So with cost per click, you're just waiting for people to click on your ad to apply. You don't get much choice, like I said, in choosing who applies at that point or who you're paying for. One of the ways that you can direct the right kind of candidate to your ad is to use that invite to apply feature. It is very similar to the Indeed resume where you get to see their details. It is not a full resume. It's just kind of like their degree, their last couple of jobs, and maybe any certifications that they may have. So for example, if you were looking for an insurance agent and they needed licensure, they would post that within the little box that would show up for their resume. And based on what you see there, you could then invite them to apply to your ad. They get that email, they can then click on your ad and then apply. So it's a bonus feature within the job posting overall, not a separate product on its own.
Okay.
So
Is
just
this
how
month to month,
to help
you guys? Is this month to month your programs?
So the posted jobs, like the actual ads that you post, I've seen people run them for 3 days at a time. They throw like $100 at it a day. They get a ton of applications within that 3 days, and they go from there. The subscription, their Indeed resume subscription, that is month to month recurring. So if you choose to do month to month with that, for example, just $120 one, say you're using it for this month, May 4th, come June 3rd, you're like, I don't feel like we're going to use this month. You can cancel it at that point and not have to pay for June, but you do have to cancel it before it renews. So with the annual, you're kind of locked in for the whole year. Of course, if this isn't working for you, you can contact us and we can prorate it accordingly if something happens and you're just not satisfied with the product. But for the most control over if you're using it per month, the month to month would be the most appropriate.
Are we, so we use it for May to June 4th. Obviously we do all the stuff in the correct time to pause. Can we pause it for June and then kick it back in July?
So the only way to pause an ad, you can pause the subscription, but it'll pause automatically for 6 months. In order to make the most of that month to month, you'd have to cancel and then just purchase another subscription.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking about somebody having to go back in, redo all their ads, redo all that stuff again, but I guess they could save it in a PDF somewhere. Okay. Any other questions, you guys? Mara, this has been awesome.
Good.
Renee,
So
I
we
think you were
do
going to say
actually,
something.
I lost it.
Okay. Sorry.
within the resume subscription, we do offer an option to save all your templates. So you can have stuff pre-typed up as well as your job descriptions. And we also have like placeholders. So whatever your message is, you can say like, hey, candidate's first name, and it will auto-populate for you, as well as the recruiter's name and things like that. So you can save all of those templates within there. If you have jobs posted and open on our website, you can also use, like you can pull from that job description when contacting another candidate about that. So there are kind of not cheats, but like ways to make it easier for you when you utilize the Indeed resume platform, because it is a lot of typing, especially when you're trying to reach out and be specific and get someone to actually continue the conversation with you about the job you're trying to give.
Now, I know like with one of your competitors, they offer an account manager to help you be the most successful with your account, to modify things where according to traffic and response rates and yada, yada, yada. Is that the same with Indeed?
Yeah, so depending on the level of business, so how many jobs you have, how many products you're using, you could get an account manager assigned to you. In general, the line that you called for me to speak with you yesterday or the other day, that's our generic helpline. We primarily deal with small to medium-sized businesses who don't have enough business to get a dedicated representative. Roughly how many jobs do you think you would be posting at a time?
Well, I mean, realistically, if we're talking individual, I would think probably maybe 3 to 6
Per
areas.
person?
Yeah,
like
three
office?
to 6 different areas.
Okay, and again, this depends on how much you have going on within the account. But if it gets to the level of business, or you feel like you're spending a lot with us and you would like a dedicated rep, we can definitely assign that. But if at any time anybody on the team has a quick question, they can call the helpline at any time, and we can help you, no problem.
Cool. What other questions, guys? Mara, this has been absolutely fantastic. Renee, thank you again for getting this set up for sure. Mara, if you would message Renee and I'll get the information out to the crew. Will that information you have, obviously it will break down each one of your programs, but will it have the estimate pricing and things like that on there as well? Okay.
Yes, the cost per click and cost per app, again, it's dependent upon what's going on Indeed. So it'll be a range. It won't be an exact amount for the position.
Okay. Yeah, because you don't know when you go out because of the out. All right. Mara, thank you so much, guys. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Renee, thanks again for getting this set up. Mara, thank you for your time. Renee and I look forward to the information, guys. As soon as I get it, we'll get it posted out on Slack. Thanks again, guys. Bye for now.
Thanks, Mara.
Bye. Have a good one. I'll be in contact.